morning, and thank you for joining us today. We're gathered here on the traditional territory of the signatories of Treaty 7, and I acknowledge the Métis people who share a deep connection with this land. My name is Dr. Luanne Metz, an MLA for Calgary-Varsity, home to the University of Calgary. I'm joined today by Rhiannon Hoyle, the Alberta NDP Critic for Advanced Education, and Court Ellingson, Alberta NDP Critic for Technology and Innovation. I'm also pleased to be joined today by the University of Calgary Graduate Students Association. We have with us here today the outgoing Vice President External, Hunter Jaworski, and the incoming Vice President External, AC Cameron, and the incoming President, Saka Sulemana. Bill 18 spells disaster for post-secondary institutions across Alberta, and students here in Calgary are worried about what this will mean for the future of their research and what this will mean in attracting talent to the University of Calgary. We'll hear from them shortly, but first I'd like to pass things over to Rhiannon Hoyle.
Thank you, Luanne. In 2023, the University of Calgary received approximately $190 million in research funding from the federal government. Under Danielle Smith's new legislation, Bill 18, that $190 million could be at risk. That would be a disaster for our students, our institutions, and our province. And I'll remind you that the UCP has already defunded post-secondary institutions by $80 million this year alone. But this bill doesn't just threaten funding. Under Bill 18, Alberta's standing as a premier province for research and innovation is in jeopardy. Alberta is home to two of the top 10 research universities in the country. The University of Calgary and the University of Alberta have earned their spots as some of the best research universities in Canada by facilitating high-quality, nonpartisan research driven first and foremost by science. But this government continues to give students every reason to not come here and study in Alberta. We're in an affordability crisis, a housing crisis. And not only are the UCP ignoring their responsibility to all Albertans to help them through the hard times, but Danielle Smith is actively making things harder for people with this legislation, particularly for students. Students need somewhere to live, and Bill 18 actively blocks federal funding for housing if Smith demands it. This bill was designed for the sole purpose of consolidating power, even at the detriment of Albertans. And we're seeing Danielle Smith's need for complete control continue through to Bill 20. Had the UCP hosted any meaningful conversations with post-secondary institutions before signaling forward and moving forward and barreling forward with this bill that hurts so many Albertans, they would have heard all these criticisms and students wouldn't be left trying to fight to ensure that universities that they're a part of remain funded and credible. Credible research and academics are what have made our universities some of the best in the world. We need that innovation, and now I would like to ask my colleague, Court, to share a few of his thoughts.
Thank you, Rhiannon. Should Bill 18 pass, the UCP will be able to decide, based on their ideology and the demands from their political base, what research institutions undertake. And they will be able to block funding for any research projects that they don't agree with. That doesn't sound like a government supporting freedom of speech or freedom of expression on university campuses to me. In fact, that will directly stall the great innovation that comes out of our universities and benefits our industries. Bill 18 undermines the credibility and integrity of the world-class research that happens at our universities, and it threatens the job creation and talent that universities attract to this province. I'd now like to turn things over to Graduate Students Association to share their thoughts on Bill 18.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you everyone for being here. And thank you to our MLAs, Rhiannon Hoyle, Court Ellingson, and Dr. Luanne Metz, for speaking alongside us today. And the note I will quickly like to make right away is that we have reached out to the Minister of Advanced Education, Rhiannon Hoyle, asking to hold a similar meeting or a similar public dialogue alongside her party on this very important issue. We have also jointly co-authored an open letter to the Premier expressing our deep concerns about Bill 18, and we, unfortunately at this time, we haven't heard anything from the Premier's office. Again, my name is Saka Suleiman Osaka, and I'm president of the Graduate Students Association, but I'm also a doctoral candidate in political science. Today, I stand before you with our team of graduate students to address this critical issue affecting not just our university, but our entire innovation ecosystem in Alberta. Our universities, recognized by businesses and research institutions alike, are pillars of innovation. We drive innovation in this province, and at the heart of this is the work of graduate students, whose compensation in various ways, such as minimum funding packages, research grants, and competitive scholarships, are from different research granting sources. Last year alone, the University of Calgary received over $190 million in research funding. U of A, our counterparts, they've reported that University of Alberta received at least $223 million in federal funding. What does this mean? Recent developments about Bill 18 threaten to undermine this. The government of Alberta proposes to insert its executive branch into our research grant processes, a move that is unprecedented in Canada. This not only introduces unnecessary red tape, but also positions politics over expertise in decision-making, risking efficiency and integrity. For those interested, our policy library and our 2024 budget submission highlight the precarious state of post-secondary funding in Alberta. The negative impact is that it affects accessibility because the role of graduate students in this province is very innovative. The economy as a whole stands to be affected, and just how much more attractive other jurisdictions in Canada could be more than Alberta is. We are in competition with the United States, European funders who attract top talent for international students who conduct critical research. Let's take a second and imagine the impact of this. If the government decides to spend taxpayers' dollars to babysit a research grant process at our post-secondary institutions that generate billions of dollars in economic activity every year, there will be delays and uncertainty in funding, which could significantly hinder our ability to conduct research, collaborate effectively with industry partners, and therefore affect Alberta's economy. A 2009 study titled university researchers working with private companies highlights the greater investment in graduate studies correlates directly with stronger, more productive industry partnerships. Therefore, by complicating the funding process with Bill 18, we risk not just academic progress and freedom, but also it harms our ability to conduct and share critical research with a larger community, which impacts everyday Alberta. We recognize this is hard for many Albertans to see how graduate students and the work we do impacts their lives. That is why we are here today. We are here to call for the protection of academic freedom and the research funding that comes to our post-secondary institutions. The work of graduate students and researchers and the excellence they bring to explore freedom in terms of diverse research options and topics contributes to the society that we all call home. And with any political interference, this freedom of expression, impact to Albertans would be at a greater risk. So this is not just about us. It's not just about graduate students. It is about maintaining a thriving, innovative environment that benefits the whole province. Thank you for your attention, and I hope to have any constructive dialogue with our government representatives promptly to resolve these concerns. I will now invite my colleague, Hunter Jaworski, the VP External for the Graduate Students Association.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hunter Jaworski, and I am the current Vice President External for the University of Calgary's Graduate Student Association. I am also a Master of Arts student in the Department of Geography at the University of Calgary. I want to build off of Saka's comments and emphasize how important it is for graduate student scholars to be able to freely choose what they're studying. The current process for funding arrangements we have for Tri-Council grants and scholarships, while not perfect, ensures that funded research is upheld to an incredibly high standard. It is this emphasis on quality, not superfluous or arbitrary political considerations, that determines who wins these awards. This rigorous process begins with the inception of a research project. Depending on department, discipline, or scope of research, applications are submitted to one of 3 Tri-Council agencies. Your application is weighed vigorously, considering your transcript, your grades in your classes, your CV, listing of publications, volunteer work, work experience, and other relevant external information. Your research project itself, which normally produces a thesis or dissertation, and academic references are also considered. All of these documents are sent to the Faculty of Graduate Studies at the University of Calgary, which ranks each application and sends the highest scoring applicants to one of 3 tri-agencies. These agencies allocate scholarships based on this intensive vetting process that's outlined on each of their websites. That is it. That's the process. At no point is the federal government overstepping its jurisdiction or empowered to interfere with academic excellence or research potential. Quality research that benefits the social and economic fabrics of this province cannot occur if its researchers are looking over their shoulders, concerned about the integrity of their research funding. Research is a lengthy process. It involves hundreds to thousands of hours of work, poring over theoretical and methodological frameworks, data to analyze, and the writing itself. An archaeologist doing field research, a political scientist interviewing a minister, or a chemist conducting a medical study all share a commonality of having to endure rigorous processes to fund their research. Most research is only completed because of a deep sense of care and passion that researchers have for their topic. Being part of a community of scholars is not metaphorical. If you do not have peers that can read, critique, and comment on your research, there is a good chance that you'll barely scratch the surface of important and fundamental questions that impact the lives of Canadians and Albertans. This dialogue is irreparably damaged if politicians attempt to govern research rather than the researchers themselves. I don't see productive dialogue between researchers and government in Alberta since graduate students in a number of other provinces and in the United States and Europe have seen funding increases recently rather than cuts, and overall have been better supported. As a researcher, I absolutely love what I do. I take great pride in the positive impact my research has on people's lives and our collective knowledge. I'd also like to support myself with my labor without worrying if I'm running afoul of the Alberta executive branch. Frankly, this bill upsets and angers me. If you care about the same things I care about, the pursuit of knowledge, humanity's ability to solve problems, and a better and more prosperous Alberta, then I'd argue you should be angry too. I would like to now turn this over to AC.
Hey, thanks, Hunter, and thanks to everyone for having me here. Sorry I'm a little camera shy, but please pardon the nerves. Yeah, so my name is AC Cameron. I'm the outgoing external for the graduate students at UCalgary. I'm also a born, settled Canadian here on these Treaty 7 lands. In my second graduate degree at the U of C, speaking to you as a graduate student today, scholar in math, penchant for climate solutions, mitigating the droughts, and things like that. I'm one of the co-authors of the open letter we sent to the Premier, and here to talk a bit about why we sent that and what our concerns regarding the bill are, as my colleagues have said already. So simply put, Bill 18 is just bad news. It represents an overreach of provincial authority on decisions made by provincial entities regarding funding offered by Canadian taxpayers. That interference and red tape stands to interfere and intervene with the research, the productivity, the affordability, etc., that Albertans need right now. And this bill is housed under the framework that the Alberta government is best positioned to look out for our needs. However, our team will tell you we have yet to hear from the government regarding this bill or regarding our budget submission or regarding our housing paper policy that we have submitted. Sent their way, heard nothing back. What have we heard instead? A bunch of media and a bunch of very quotable petty quips at the federal government. What have we not heard? Much for solutions. Yeah, I'll keep it short. This is bad. This bill is bad news. We wrote the letter to oppose it. We wrote the letter to the Premier to invite some conversations that we think have been missed along the way, and a deeper understanding for the needs of Albertans, the needs of graduate research, the needs of productivity in this province. Thank you for inviting me. I'll turn it back over to Emily Hoyle.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all, the three of you coming and speaking on behalf of students, and we're happy to take any questions at this time.
All right, thank you, everyone. So we will now go to questions. Just a reminder for those using the phone lines and for those joining us on Zoom to use *9 to get into the question queue or the raise hand function. Do a quick pass for questions. All right, and with no questions, that concludes our press conference. Thanks, folks.